Dear viewers, from today we are starting a new video series on labor law in the English language, where we will explain the details of labor legislations in simple and easy words. Now, many of you might be wondering, what exactly does the word legislation mean? Simply put, legislation is the process of making laws. It is the way by which rules are formally created, written down, and enforced in a country. In India, this work is mainly done by the legislature, that is, parliament at the center or state legislatures in the states. For example, when parliament passes a bill and it gets the assent of the president, it becomes an act, that is legislation. But legislation is not just limited to acts of parliament. It can also include ordinances issued by the president or governor, rules made by the government under the authority of an act, and even regulations framed by local bodies or statutory authorities. So, in short, legislation is the formal expression of law by a competent authority. It is one of the primary sources of law in our country, along with judicial decisions and customs. We are going to learn about some very important legal terms that you often hear in Indian law, act, rule, regulation, and code. Many students get confused between these, so let's make it very simple and clear. What is law? Law is the broadest term. It means the system of rules that the state recognizes and enforces. It ensures justice, regulates our conduct, and maintains order in society. For example, the Constitution of India is the supreme law of the land. Labor law, criminal law, and contract law all are different branches of law. So remember, law is like the umbrella under which everything else comes. What is an act? An act is a specific piece of legislation passed by the parliament or a state legislature. Think of it as the main skeleton framework on any subject. For example, the Factories Act 1948 tells us about working conditions and safety of workers. Another one is the Right to Information Act 245, which gives us the right to access government information. So an act gives us the framework, but it doesn't explain all small details. What are rules? Now, once an act is passed, the government needs to tell us the procedure to implement it. That is where rules come in. Rules are made by the executive, that is, the central or state government, under the power given by the act. For example, the Industrial Disputes Rules 1947 were framed under the Industrial Disputes Act 1947. Rules are like the step-by-step instructions to put the act into practice. What are regulations? Regulations are made by special regulatory authorities like RBI, UGC, TRAI, etc. They are more technical and specific than rules. For example, UGC regulations guide how universities appoint teachers. So regulations are industry-specific directions with legal backing. What is a code? A code is a consolidated and comprehensive law that brings together all rules and acts on a particular subject into one single law. For example, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is a complete code of criminal law. Similarly, the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita covers all rules about civil cases. Recently, the government has merged 29 labor laws into 4 labor codes like the Code on Wages 2019. So a code is like a single big book that covers an entire subject in one place. In nutshell, we can say law is the broad system. Act is the main framework passed by legislature. Rule is the detailed procedure made by government. Regulation is the technical guideline made by regulatory bodies. Code is the comprehensive and consolidated law on a subject. Thanks for watching this class. If this is useful for you, please like and share the video and subscribe our channel. If you want PPT, then visit PPT section of my website. Link is given in description box.